Hey guys, well, I hope you're ready for our last week of lessons before the end of this semester. It was crazy, right? Well, today we're talking about function notation and evaluating functions. Now, normally this is something we do earlier in the school year, but we're trying to get caught up a little bit right now. But all this really is, function notation is just a way that mathematicians say, hey, can you plug this into the equation for me? Hey, can you plug this into the equation for me? That's all it is. So, if we take a look here, this is function notation, f of x. And all it's really saying is, well, it's saying like this is my output, but this x is the same as this x, okay? So like, if it's saying, okay, f of x equals this, if it instead says like f of 2 equals, well, instead of having an x where x normally would be, we would have a 2 instead. So it's different, okay? So let me explain that a bit more. Take a look here at A. We have f of x equals 5x minus 1, okay? Pretty straightforward. Now, when it says f of 0, all it is saying is wherever there is an x in my normal equation, put a 0 there instead of having the x there. So it's going to be 5 times 0 minus 1. 5 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So f of 0 equals negative 1. So all we're doing is we're taking that value that it's asking, saying it's just telling us, hey, plug 0 in for x for me and see what it gets me. Okay? That's all it's saying. So for this one, f of 1.5 is saying, hey, take 1.5 for me, plug it in. So like f of 1.5 is going to be equal to 5 times 1.5 minus 1. Of course, 5 times 1.5 is going to be 7.5. Kind of silly, but that's what we get. 7.5 minus 1 is 6.5. So there you go. F of 1.5 is going to be 6.5. Okay, what about f of negative 3? Let's plug that in, okay? So let's plug f of negative 3. So we go f of negative 3 equals, okay, 5 times negative 3 minus 1. 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. Negative 15 minus 1 is negative 16. So there it is. All we're doing, guys, is we're taking these numbers, plugging them into our equation, and figuring out what it simplifies to. Okay? I'm just trying to teach you a different way that mathematicians show, hey, can you plug this in for me? So let's take a look at letter B. So letter B, we have 2 plus x squared. Okay? And so it's asking, what is this function when f of x is whenever it's 0? Okay? So let's plug in 0 into my equation. So let's go f of 0 equals 2 plus 0 squared. Well, 0 squared is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. So f of 0 equals 2. What about f of 2? Let's plug that in. F of 2 equals 2 plus 2 squared. Well, 2 squared is 4. 4 plus 2 is 6. So f of 2 equals 6. Okay, all we're doing, taking that, plugging it in where x used to be, right? Okay, replacing x with whatever number is in here. Okay, f of negative 3. Let's go. F of negative 3 equals 2 plus negative 3 squared. Okay, whenever you plug in a negative, make sure you put the parentheses, okay? All right, so we're going to have negative 3 squared is 9. 2 plus 9 is 11. So we're going to say f of negative 3 equals 11. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, now let's try letter C here. Well, letter C, we don't even have anything to plug in. It's just a graph. Well, with the graph, all you do is look for where that x value is that. So like, look here, f of 0, it's asking us, where is x 0 on my graph? Well, x is 0 right in the middle, right? Right here. Okay, so what is y when x is 0? Well, we're going to have to go up 2 to find that. So when f is 0, y equals 2. Okay, what about this? What about what is y when f is 1.5? I mean, when x is 1.5? Well, we go over 1.5. There's 1.5. Go up. Oh, it's 1. When f is 1.5, y is 1. It's just literally asking you, hey, what's the y value for the point at blank? What's the y value for the point at blank? So, what's the y value for the point at -3? Well, let's see. If we go to the left, 1, 2, 3. There's our point at -3. I don't even have to go up or down at all. It's just going to be 0. So my y value is 0 when my x is -3. Okay. What about D here? D, it says, okay, what is my y value when x is 0? Okay, we'll see x is 0 right in the middle, so we're going to go up to where my line is. Okay, my line is right here. So we're going to find out where is my, when x is 0, what is my y? It's going to be 2. Okay, what is it when x is -1? All right, well, that's easy. It's going to be 0. And then lastly, what is it when x is -3? Well, when x is -3, we're going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when x, oops, didn't I mess up? Didn't I just mess up? Okay, back up. Sorry, I started from that point. No, we need to start from this point. We're going to go to the left. 1, 2, 3, down. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, we're good. Yeah, -3, -4. So when x is -3, y is going to be -4. Look at that. I thought I messed up, and I got it right the whole time. All right. Turn the page. And this is a bit more complex, right? It's just asking us, we have 2. We have f of x equals 5 minus 3x, and then I have g of x equals 12x plus 2. Now, that's just a way to say these two are different. One is f of x, one is g of x, but they're pretty much the same kind of idea, okay? All right, so look at this first one. It says, okay, which one's bigger, f of 1 or g of 1? So we plug in this 1 here into f of x. So we'll go like f of 1 equals, and we'll take that 1, we'll plug it in for that x. So it's going to be 5 minus 3 times 1, and we're asking, hey, is that greater than g of 1? So we'll plug this in over here too. We'll go g of 1. And so we'll take that 1, we'll plug it in for x there. We'll go, okay, is g of 1, well, that's going to be 12 times 1 plus 2. Okay, so let's simplify these out, all right? So I'm going to go 3 times 1 is 3, 5 minus 3 is 2. So f of 1 equals 2. And then g of 1. Okay, 12 times 1 is 12. 12 plus 2 is 14. Okay, is 2 greater than 14? Obviously not. So this one is not true. Okay, so that one's not true. Let's check this one. This one is f of -1 and g of -1. Okay, so let's take this f of -1 and let's plug that in. F of -1. F of -1 equals 5 minus 3 times -1. Okay, and we're asking, is this greater than g of -1? Let's see, g of -1 equals, well, we're going to take that -1, right? We're going to plug it into the x for g, just like I took this one and plugged it into the x for f of x. And we're just checking, which one's bigger? -1 plugs into this equation or -1 plugs into this one? Okay, so g of -1, we're going to plug that one in. G of -1, we're going to go 12 times -1 plus 2. Okay, -3 times -1 is 3. 3 plus 5 is 8. Okay, so g of -1, so 12 times -1 is -12. 12 plus 2 is -10. So we're going to be like, okay, is 8 greater than -10? Yes, this one is true. So it's asking us, which statement is not true? And the statement that's not true is, of course, going to be this one. This one is true. Okay? All right. So That's all we have to do. Just plug it in, and then sometimes it's going to ask you like, hey, check and see which one goes where, okay? So, but whenever you see f of something or g of something, it literally means just plug it in and then compare it, multiply it, whatever you got to do. It's just shorthand. You know, mathematicians are lazy. They like to write shorthand. It's just like, hey, plug this in for me into this equation, okay? That's it. All right, let's take a look down here. We have these 4 to do, okay? All we're going to do is, here's my 2 equations. Here's f of x. Ooh, I hate it when it does that. All right, here is f of x. Here is g of x, okay? So pay attention to which one it's asking us for. Okay, so here I have g of -1. I'm going to say, okay, g of -1. So we look over here at g, and we're going to take that -1 and we're going to plug it in for this x right here, okay? So we're going to go g of -1 equals -1 squared minus 3. Remember, when you plug in a negative, make sure you put it in parentheses. So -1 squared is going to be a positive 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. So my answer is g of -1 equals -2. You could just write -2, okay? No one's going to fault you for it. So here's our answer, -2. Okay, now let's try this one. Oh, man, this one looks scary. It has a 2x in it. Listen, don't let that bother you. All you're saying is we're taking what's inside that parentheses and we're replacing x with it, okay? So this one is with f. So my normal f of x is 1/2 x minus 4, right? Well, we're going to replace that x with -2x. So instead of being 1/2 times x, it's going to be 1/2 times -2x. So that's all we got to do, okay? Then we just simplify it. 1/2 times -2x is -x. And -x minus 4, well, I can't do anything else with that. So it's just my answer. I don't have to do anything else with it. So we just leave it there. And so that's my answer, -x minus 4. Okay, got 2 more here. Let's take a look at C and D. All right, so we got a lot going on here for C. So C, we have 2 times f of 2 times g of 1. So what we're going to do is we're going to find out what's f of 2, we're going to find out what's g of 1, and then we're just going to plug it in here. So let's figure out what f of 2 is first. So f of 2 means that we're going to go f of 2 equals 1/2 times 2 minus 4. Okay, so 1/2 times 2 is 1. 1 minus 4 is -3. So f of 2 equals -3. Okay, so then let's figure out what g of 1 is. Okay, so now we're going to plug in g of 1. So g of 1 equals, well, we're going to take g and we're going to plug it in. We're going to go 1 squared minus 3. Okay, 1 squared is 1. 1 minus 3 is -2. So g of 1 equals -2. Okay, so now look back at our original question. It's just 2 times f of 2 times g of 1. Okay, well, f of 2 we know is -3, so let's build this out. We're going to have 2 times f of 2. Well, f of 2 is -3, so I'm just going to go times -3. Then times g of 1. Well, g of 1 is -2. So now it's just a simple multiplication problem. 2 times -3 is -6. -6 times -2 is a positive 12. So there's my answer, okay? So sometimes we can plug in multiple things and then just multiply them together or add them together or whatever. So just plug it in first, figure out what your number is, and then add or subtract or multiply them together, okay? All right, here's our last one, letter D. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is, so I don't have to keep scrolling up and down, I'm going to write my equations above it right here, okay? So I'm going to write f of x equals 1/2 x minus 4, and g of x equals x squared minus 3. Okay, so there are my two equations. All right, so let's see what it says here. It says find g of negative 3. That seems easy enough. Then substitute whatever we get for g of negative 3 into f of x. Okay, so let's find g of 3 first. So g of negative 3 equals, we're going to plug in negative 3 in over here, right? So I'm going to go negative 3 squared minus 3. Well, negative 3 squared is 9. 9 minus 3 is 6. Okay, so g of negative 3 equals 6. So that was the first part, find g of negative 3. Now for my second part, substitute g of negative 3 into f of x. So we're just going to take this value for g of negative 3, we're going to plug it in for f of x. So I'm going to go f of 6 equals 1/2 times 6 minus 4. Well, of course, 1/2 times 6 is 3. 3 minus 4 is negative 1. So our final answer, after we follow these steps, is just going to be negative 1. All right, guys, so I hope this makes sense to you. As always, if it doesn't, feel free to let me know. Ask me questions. Send me an email. Set up a Google Meet with me. Whatever. All right, guys, hope you have a great rest of your day.